Welcome back, 93.7 The Ticket. We're back here live at the Niko at Night podcast inside of Memorial Stadium. And to my left today, I have for you guys a gymnastics athlete by the name of Isabel. Isabel is from San Antonio, Texas. She is a gymnastics all-around athlete. She was recruited early on in her high school career. She went to a camp around her sophomore year and then committed here her junior year. So, Isabel, go ahead and tell me, so you've been here at the University of Nebraska since about the summertime. Can you talk about the transition from when you were competing from middle school to high school and then now at the Division I level? I mean, I'm aware that you haven't competed yet as a Division I athlete. So what has it been like training with the girls, the team, the atmosphere? Tell us.
So the club transition to college is definitely different in club and like middle school and high school. It's more individual based and it's not so much of a team atmosphere versus college, but it's been definitely an interesting experience to compete or practice with the college girls so far. I think season will be really fun. It's definitely going to be a big energy in the competition arena. So
Yeah, no doubt. And for the viewers out there, most of the time when you're in high school and you're transitioning, gymnasts normally do their own club team. So a lot of high schools have like different sport teams, football, basketball, baseball. But for gymnastics, it's most of the time club. And that's here in the United States, and that's also here how it is overseas. And something I've always noticed is it's been a trend with all of the girls is that the team here in Nebraska is very team-oriented. They're always cheering for each other at practice. And a lot of girls are not really used to that coming in. They're like, dang, I'm not used to really being a team. And it's most of the time individualized. Isabel, go ahead. This next section, what has been the hardest part about being a D1 athlete so far? Tell us the hardest part about your day. Is it the classes? Is it time management? Is it going to practice? What's the hardest part about your day?
I would say the hardest part about my day is probably the time management, just making sure that I'm on track with all my classes and keeping up to date with all the assignments. But other than that, going to classes and gym is pretty normal, but I would say time management aspect part is definitely something I still need to work on.
Yeah. She also forgot to mention something else. The hardest part about being here is living in the suites in Nebraska. I swear, living in the suites in Nebraska is an absolute trip for any of you guys who ever lived there. She was telling me a story about how some drunk dude made it up to her floor. Next thing you know, the cops and the whole building shut. That's crazy. It's crazy. Living in college, you never know what's going to come next. So, Isabel, go ahead and let's transition to this next part. So I want to get into about like the social life. So coming up from Texas, is a very big state. Sports there, they say that sports in Texas are just bigger and better than anything before. So you've obviously had a high school football team. You came up with a lot of different athletes. Go ahead and describe the culture in Texas and the sports for high school football or just even sports all in general.
Yeah, they say everything's bigger and better in Texas.
Exactly.
But football games in Texas definitely go crazy. Everybody's there. The stadiums in Texas are pretty big compared to some other schools in different states. They definitely get packed, and it's a pretty fun time. So,
yeah, no doubt. If you ever want to see an amazing football game, go to Texas, go to Florida, and go to Georgia. Those are the three, and Cali. Those are like kind of the four kings of football. So, Isabel, I do realize that you were part Mexican and you were part Polish, and we were talking before this that you actually decided to represent Poland instead of Mexico for if you were to ever compete, overseas, Olympics. So go ahead and tell the people what that process is like and why you chose to represent Poland instead of Mexico.
So I chose to represent Poland for a couple different reasons. I have family in Poland, so that was definitely a plus. My dad, I was already kind of connected because he has citizenship there, so it was a little bit easier process to get my dual citizenship compared to getting it for Mexico. It's definitely a little bit less competitive in Poland, so that's also a reason why I picked that. But yeah, going to compete for a different country was a very cool experience, and I'm super grateful for the competitions that I got to compete for them.
Yeah, that's an honor. I mean, I'm a half white, half Puerto Rican guy here too, and so choosing to represent a different country in a different place, it's a surreal feeling. It really is, and so that's really cool about being able to make that decision. Your dad had citizenship, so getting the citizenship was easy. So going into our next talking point, I would love to hear your perspective a little bit about what it was like growing up. Was your parents, were they athletes? Did you always know you want to be a gymnastics person, or did you try any other sports? What was your childhood like?
All right, so my parents both did sports when they were high school athletes. My dad kind of did a couple different sports, I would say mainly basketball, and then my mom was a cheerleader, so they definitely were sporty whenever they were younger. I'll tell you a funny story about how I got started in gymnastics. So basically, my mom's best friend put her kids in a class, and the funny story is that I always tell everybody I started gymnastics because of a Groupon.
What?
Yeah, my mom found a Groupon for a gymnastics class and put me and my 2 younger sisters in there, and we've stuck with it ever since. So 6 years. Well, I was 6 years old whenever I started, so
Wow.
like 13-ish years now. Yeah, that's pretty
Did you do any
crazy.
other sports?
I did a little bit of dance, and then I played softball for 2 seasons, but yeah, gymnastics just stuck out more than the rest.
Groupon, man, you never
I know,
respected.
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. This podcast has been going great so far. So we've learned that we have a D1 gymnastics athlete here that started because of a Groupon. So for any parents out there watching who wants to not pay for college, go ahead and check out that magazine. So going into this last talking point, if there were any girls out there who wanted to be a Nebraska Division I gymnastics athlete, what would you have to tell them for advice, whether it's for academics, school? We heard a little bit about your journey. So if you had to give advice to anybody out there who wants to become a D1 athlete in your sport, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that you can definitely achieve those goals if you're disciplined and hardworking. I think it's good to keep a balance between everything. And, I mean, if you love what you're doing, it makes it easier. And I think definitely being a D1 athlete is something that you can achieve if you put the work in the gym, in your academics, and, later on in your life in the recruiting process.
Amazing. Isabel, thank you so much. You have absolutely killed this podcast. And for anybody out there watching, go ahead and support her for her first ever collegiate season this upcoming spring, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
This upcoming spring. So this was the Niko and I podcast, and thanks for watching. Peace.